This year MVP came at us with some banger releases for their Halloween drop. The two less exciting, but still exciting of the three that I have is the Particle Eclipse Fireball and a Particle Eclipse Hex. The more exciting of the three that I have right here is this Proton trail. If you've watched me throw either of my trail videos, either the one it first came out in Neutron or the eventual Fission trail, both of them were way too understable for me. It might have just been the run. For the Fission trail, it was definitely the fact that it was just a Fission trail. But I'm kind of interested to see if the Proton trail will actually have that extra little bit of stability to be an actual throwable disc for me. And it seems like from some of the responses I've seen online, that might be the case, although I won't know until I throw it myself here. I am throwing with a little bit of a tailwind here, so maybe that'll mitigate some of the stability for me. Why don't we just get started with the disc I'm most familiar with, the Hex, and let's just take a look at what this thing looks like right off the bat. It's kind of very similar to any other Eclipse Hex. I have this Eclipse Hex, which is in my bag right here. They feel pretty much the same. This just has some chalk on it from sitting in my bag. I don't know if the particle in it really has any real effect on the flight or the feel or anything. I'm assuming not. It probably just looks nice. And the stamp is very cool, very nice. Nice swirly rim, kind of everything you'd expect from a Hex. So let's just go ahead and throw this Hex I've had in my bag for probably around a year. Flies pretty similar to any other Hex I've thrown, and then we'll see if the new one is any different. Yeah, so pretty much dead straight. It's a little beat up, so it's not as stable as your typical Eclipse Hex. Now we've got this one. This one's been sitting in my apartment for a little bit. It definitely feels a little bit, I guess, flimsier and lighter feeling than that Hex. I know it's a couple grams lighter, but it feels a lot lighter, a lot flimsier. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Proton Hex they had in a previous release. For some reason, that one also felt a little bit lighter for some reason. Oh yeah, I threw it a little low, but that was pretty much dead straight. I'll throw it one more time. Okay, we'll try to give this one a little bit more height this time. Get a feel for the actual flight. Oh my goodness. All right, yeah, I threw that pretty nose up and it still got a little bit of turn. Pretty straight flight. From all the Eclipse Hexes I've ever thrown, they all are pretty overstable to start off. Like I would say, here's a Proton Matrix. This would probably be close to how an Eclipse Hex flies when I throw it for the first time. See how it just kind of goes straight, doesn't really turn at all and then just fades? Where I feel like that's kind of what I see out of an Eclipse Hex. It's a little bit beat up matrix there, so it does have a little bit of turn. But this one seems like it's kind of beat up right out of the box. Like you get a little bit of turn out of it right away. So if you want an Eclipse Hex, if you like the Eclipse Hex feel like I do, but you want to see a little bit more turn out of the disc right out of the box, I think this is honestly a pretty good drop. I'm surprised they were able to get it flying this way. I wonder if there's something a little bit different about these ones. Next up, we have a Fireball. I've never thrown a Fireball before, but I wanted to try this out because I love throwing Firebirds. I love throwing Dracos. I've thrown like FD3s before. What's the dynamic disc version of this disc? I can't remember. So I kind of want to see what the Fireball is all about. Two quick comparisons before I throw it. We have a two flat top Firebirds. One is a 21 Sexton, kind of a straight flyer, and then a more overstable flat top Champion, just to kind of see where my arm speed's at, and this is what I'm used to throwing. So kind of cranked over on that a little bit, and it kind of just fights out the entire flight. Pretty much what you expect from a overstable Firebird. And then this one should be just a touch straighter. If I release it pretty much flat, it'll just ride straight for quite a while and then fight out at the end. So kind of just hold straight for a little longer and then fights out. So that's what I got in the bag. That's what I'm used to for that kind of disc. Now it's enough with the Firebirds. Now we have a Fireball. Never thrown a Fireball before. I really like the Eclipse plastic. I'm a huge fan of the Eclipse. I have an Eclipse Envy, Eclipse Hex. I think it's a really nice feeling plastic. It does feel like, it feels a little bit different in the hand. Like, it kind of feels like the parting line kind of goes down a little bit towards the end. So it kind of goes flat and then drops off. I can kind of feel that in my hand. The way it sits in, where the Firebird I think is a little bit flatter. I'm just gonna throw this pretty much the same way I just threw those two. Oh my gosh. So that's more overstable than my most overstable Firebird. So I guess it's true for pretty much all the Eclipse runs. They're all pretty overstable. I might want to throw that one just one more time. But before we do that, we got to try out the trail, man. I'm hoping, everyone loves the trail. I'm hoping that this thing flies nice for me. I'm going to release it on a good amount of hyzer, because from what I can remember, trails like to flip over for me. But I have somewhat higher hopes here for a usable trail. Maybe it finds a way into the bag, I don't know. Actually, I'll give two quick comparisons to stuff on my bag. This is a CD1 that I've had in the bag for quite some time. Probably one of the flippier discs in my bag. It's kind of like a hyzer flip, 9-speed, similar to what the trail feels like to me, but I think I can control this a lot better than the trails that I've thrown. So you can kind of see it flips up, even thrown nose up, turns, and then it will fade. And that's really kind of trying to stop it from turning over. And then I've got a disc that I can kind of just throw hard and flat and it'll go straight. Really similar to what I just threw with the hexes, where I can just hit it and it'll ride straight. This is a fairly new FD. Kind of pulled that right a little bit. You can kind of see, doesn't fight out too fast. I can kind of get over on it, won't turn over. That's kind of like my straight flying disc. Now the trail isn't like the FD. You can't just crank over on it. It's gonna turn over. So I gotta be able to hyzer flip this thing. Is it gonna be closer to the CD1? Is it gonna be closer to the FD? Probably not. We'll find out. First throw with this new trail. Okay, look at that. Oh, that went so far too. Yes, that's the best flying trail I've ever thrown. That's so good. Let's throw some more with that. Okay, I also want to throw the fireball one more time. It was a bit unexpected for me. What is it? 9, 3.5, 0, 3.5. I think those are the flight numbers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's like, a Firebird is a 9304, right? Or is it 9403? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting it mixed up, because I know a lot of companies have it like different, where it's like a 9403 or 9304. Okay, yeah, so a Firebird is a 9304. Obviously flight numbers mean absolutely nothing, but I would have the feeling that a Firebird would be more overstable than a Fireball based on the flight numbers. And this also is supposed to be, according to the flight numbers, less stable but more glide, and I got the total opposite. This thing bit out of the air, super overstable, didn't seem like it wanted to glide as much. My less stable Firebird went, a lot straighter and a little bit further, but this Fireball was like 50 feet short almost of both of those. I'm gonna really give it some angle out of my hand, see what it does, but I think this thing is just really overstable. Yeah, I basically threw that on, like, most other discs I would be throwing that into the ground, and it just fought out like crazy. So yeah, that thing's really overstable. I don't know, are Fireballs supposed to be that overstable? It feels like a Captain's Raptor, or even more overstable than some Captain's Raptors I've thrown. All right, one more throw at the trail. I'm very surprised at how good this thing flies. Obviously it's a little bit of a tailwind, but every trail that I've thrown wanted to just flip up and just move right throughout the entire flight. It wasn't this like straight flying disc that everyone touted it to be, but I put that on some hyzer. I didn't really try and over exaggerate it or anything, and it flew exactly how I wanted it to. Look at that. I didn't even get to flip up all the way. It's probably a little bit in part due to the tailwind, but that was like a hyzer shot. Oh, it's so sick. That's actually really cool. That trail actually flies the way that I feel like the flight numbers suggest, which means I might actually put it in my bag, because I really like MVP and I really like the idea of a trail. I don't know, this is like totally shattering my whole world right now. So yeah, that's the Tales of Terror Halloween drop, at least 3 of the 5 discs. I don't really throw the other 2 or anything similar to them, so these are the 3 I wanted to throw. As far as the Fireball goes, very overstable. Never thrown a Fireball before, but if you're used to Firebirds, FD3s, Felons, this is certainly way more overstable. I would say this is basically like a Captain's Raptor. So if you want something really overstable, you love MVP, you love the Fireball, you're gonna love this thing. The Hex feels great. Kind of feels a little bit light in the hand, but it still flies the same as any other Hex. I would say it's basically more of a hyzer flip Hex out of the box compared to other Eclipse Hexes that I've thrown. Most Eclipse Hexes pretty overstable, kind of straight to finish. This kind of flips up a little bit. So if you want something that feels like an Eclipse Hex but flies like you've been throwing it for a year, out of the box, this one right here is fantastic. And man, the trail, this Proton trail, it is everything I've wanted the trail to be. It is finally a throwable trail for me, and I could potentially see it making its way into my bag in the future. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be giving this one away. I want to have some more time with it. But if you are someone who felt like the previous iterations of the trail were a little bit too flippy, you wanted to get something that just is more suitable for a higher arm speed, maybe less of a hyzer stock release, you just watched me throw this thing on a hyzer and it literally didn't even flip up. Granted, it's in a little bit of a tailwind. Yeah, this is what I expected the trail to be when it came out. So huge, huge win for me with this trail. Of course, you can get all of these at otbdisc.com. You can use my code in the description. Thanks for watching. Yeah, check out this trail. It's sick. I'll see you next time. Peace.